Gina, our president, who is going to have a few remarks for us.
Thank you, Carrie. Picture this. You confidently approach a group of professionals armed with the knowledge of how to engage and leave a lasting impression. Imagine the doors that could open, the opportunities that could arise, and the connections that could change your life. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is the power of networking. Welcome to How to Master the Art of Networking with Anne-Marie Walker and Nadia Trawers. I am Gina Joseph, president of the Global Business Leaders Toastmasters Club. I welcome you to this thrilling and transformational journey as we gather today to become master networkers. Networking is a skill that can open doors for us personally and professionally. Today, our expert presenters will show us tips and strategies to help us navigate the networking landscape and leverage the benefits. Are you ready to network? Madam Chair, let's begin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gina. I want to first take a moment to introduce our speakers. In March 2008, Anne-Marie Walker became a part of Toastmasters, initially attending meetings with the VA Cavaliers. And despite her membership, she was content observing from the back of the room. It wasn't until she was encouraged to take on the role of treasurer that she became actively involved. And from then on, she has assumed numerous club officer positions and took on leadership responsibilities at the district level. She held the position of district director for District 36 during the 2022 and 2023 term. Anne-Marie Walker is affiliated with 3 clubs, the VA Cavaliers, She Leads, She Speaks, SLSS, and Another Level Online Advance. Alongside her Toastmasters responsibilities, she is an accountant at the Department of Veterans Affairs, working in the Veterans Benefits Administration, Office of Financial Management. That's a lot of responsibility. She also contributes to her church community as an usher and is a member of the logistics and creative team for the women's ministry. Balancing her time, she cherishes moments spent with loved ones while also appreciating her personal time. As she steps out of the shadows, Anne-Marie embraces the journey ahead, finding a sense of peace in this transition. And our other esteemed speaker, Nadia Trawers, is an executive assistant with 15 years of experience as an administrative professional, including working alongside senior leaders and VPs in higher education. Nadia specializes in customer service, calendar management, office operations, event planning, and communication strategy. Nadia has been a Toastmaster since October 2015 and a member of the ASCE Toastmasters Club. She's on the visionary communication path and has had several roles in her local club, including president, vice president of education, vice president of public relations, and currently the District 36 public relations manager. In her free time, Nadia volunteers at her local church and supports nonprofits, churches, and small businesses in communicating their story through media, branding, and marketing strategies. Nadia graduated from American University's School of Communications with a bachelor's degree in film and media arts and a master's degree in producing for film and video. Nadia was born in Jamaica and currently resides in Silver Spring, Maryland. So all of my friends and guests, please let us welcome Anne-Marie Walker and Nadia Trawers.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for that great introduction. Anne-Marie, you're still on me.
We'll give her a tip later. Good afternoon, everyone. So as we get started, today will be an interactive session. Nadia, you're driving the slides?
Sure, yep.
Yeah. So as Gina said, networking can be a powerful catalyst for personal and professional growth. Today's interconnected world, the value of meaningful relationship cannot be overlooked. Networking not only expand our horizon, but it also contributes to the enrichment of our community. And we do this by sharing knowledge, resource, and expertise. So throughout our presentation today, we are going to be looking at various aspects of networking. So throughout our session, we're going to look at understanding networking, building a strong network, crafting connection in the digital world. Then we'll also look at how we maintain those connections. Then we'll do a quick exercise and look at overcoming networking challenges. But first, let's look at what the understanding of networking is. As mentioned earlier, it can be a very powerful catalyst. It can help us in gaining access to new perspectives, ideas, opportunities that can shape our journey. It can also help us to expand our horizon, as mentioned earlier. You know, the essence of networking is a dynamic force that propels us forward. It transforms our perspective, and it also shapes our professional and personal life. But in doing that, there are some misconceptions about networking. Give me a raise of hands if you believe that there are things that you hear about networking that just kind of scared you away from networking. Let me see your hands. Yep, I see. Yes. So some of those misconceptions. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just naming out the hands that raised.
Yeah. And some of those misconceptions are networking is manipulative. And you think, really? When I go into a room, I'm just thinking networking can be manipulative, you know, but it's building, genuine relationship. And this is based on mutual trust. And then network is only for extrovert. Myself as an introvert, I always think that because for me, when I pop into a room, I find the furthest corner and I just stand there and observe. Does anyone else do that? Because I know when I do that, I go into the room, I find the furthest corner, I scope out the room to see how the room is set up, and I try to be away from, I don't want to talk, but as introverts, we can actually excel in networking. So that's one of the misconceptions that we can put aside. And then another one is quantity over quality. You're wondering, quantity over quality, what is that? And that is where you think you have to have a lot of folks in your networking group. But you don't. You know, for that, the quality of it is to just foster the value of those support. So you don't have to have a lot of folks in your sphere of networking. You just have to have those folks that are giving you value. And then networking is self-promotion. Some people think that, we are networking just to promote ourselves. I know if it's just self-promotion, I would have no networking sphere because I just don't like to promote myself. True story. I was telling Genia this, just to go off topic for a minute. And I saw the picture in her background and I said, Gina, when you asked a question about presenters, I forgot to mention that if only you cannot find anyone. And she said, well, you didn't say that. So this brought me back to the self-promoting part. I was like, oh, I should have said that, else I wouldn't have been in front of you right now. But next time I remember. And know that, another misconception is that networking is only limited to professional events. It's not. Networking can be anywhere, anytime. You just have to know where it is. And as mentioned earlier, one of the other misconceptions is networking is only exchanging of business cards. That is a misconception that we can put aside because during networking, yes, you would exchange your business card, but you'll also try to have meaningful conversation. The card is just a part of that networking. And then the next one is networking is easy for everyone, or networking is only for job seekers. Now, networking is not easy for everyone. We all have to learn to do it because we're putting ourselves out there. And so, with that being said, we looked at the misconception of networking, but what is networking? Let's look to see what networking is defined as. Networking is defined as the deliberate and purposeful act of establishing and nurturing connection with individuals, both within and beyond one's immediate circle. This is where you share interests, goals, professional affiliation. This is where you also build relationship to genuine connection. You build communication, you're engaged. And as it says, networking goes beyond casual exchange. You create a web of connection, both personal and professional. Now, what is the significance of networking? Some of the significance of networking is you build opportunities. And those opportunities will help you to open doors for various those opportunities help you to open doors for various activities, such as finding a new job, collaborating on different projects, or exploring new horizons. You're making those connections that otherwise would be unexpected. Another significance of networking is sharing knowledge. Now you'll have access to a wealth of knowledge once you gain those network connections. You'll also get insight into various experience. And then also, my personal favorite is personal growth. Personal growth with networking. By myself, I would just be Anne Marie. In a group of individuals, I will be growing, because this helps me to develop my interpersonal skill. It helps me to gain the confidence I gain by just being confident enough to be in front of you today. And that's my network connection with Gina and some other folks. I won't call their names. But then that also helps you to build a support system. And in building that support system, you will be offered like emotional and professional support, because you'll have a group of folks that you can call to talk to. And then, you know, if there's something going on, you know that your support system is there. Okay. And those are some of the significance of networking. But even with all that, you have to have a strong network. And in knowing that, you have to identify your goals. Networking goals should align with your personal and professional aspiration. So, what is your goal for networking? Some of those goals may be professional growth and learning, career advancement, building meaningful relationship. And when we say building meaningful relationship, we're stressing the importance of those genuine connection. We're stressing the importance of building those professional support system that we mentioned earlier. And then there's also sharing and gaining insights. There may be some things that you would like to know, but talking with others will help you gain the insight into certain areas. There are certain industries that you would like to get into, and having those goals set. Once you get into the networking environment, you'll know what your goal is in order to build that connection. And then there's personal development. You know, what is your aim? Do you want to enhance your interpersonal and communication skill? So that's one of the goals that you can look at for building a strong network. And then staying informed. Staying informed, meaning, being up to date on what's going on. Highlight how your network can express the real-time information that you need. And we talked about it earlier about building those relationships. One of the goals for networking is that you can build long-term relationships. Those are relationships that you carry along with you, no matter where you are in your professional or personal growth. And with that, we'll just move it forward to our next section.
All right. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for that overview. And part of the aspect of networking that I enjoy, because I am the extrovert who goes into a room and thinks, oh my goodness, all these people, I love people, I want to connect. Who are they? What do they do? How do we connect? What similarities do we have? And so my tips for crafting connections in a digital age is just remembering that after you've left the room, that you can still continue to connect with someone, whether that's on social media, whether it's via email, whether it's via phone. So definitely recognize that you can be social and send introduction messages, cold introduction messages online, perhaps on one of the professional platforms like LinkedIn, or possibly a follow-up message saying, hey, it was great to meet you, Anne-Marie, at the Global Toastmasters meeting. I look forward to connecting. Let me know when your next Toastmasters meeting is. I would love to attend. Something like that as a follow-up message could be sent on social media that we exchanged during our introduction when we first met each other in the virtual space or in the in-person space. And then be specific. I mentioned that because I know that oftentimes if you're on LinkedIn, you might get an introduction of someone saying, I want to connect with you. And I'm like, who is this person? Why do they want to connect with me? And so definitely if it's a cold connection, mention why. I saw this in your resume. I'm looking forward to getting more experience in project management. I see that you're a project manager. I would love to connect and be a part of your network to share ideas or share resources around project management. Or if you met someone in person or virtually, and then you would like to remind them about who you are. I was the person from the university, or I was the person with the blue tie on, if that was a topic of the conversation during your engagement. And then attend online events. This is an online event, a virtual event. And there are also seminars, there are also webinars and different conference or groups or local groups, either community groups, professional groups that you can engage in online. So even though, some people were closed down during COVID, there were many opportunities to expand your horizon globally and even attend across time zones and countries just from the aspect of being online. So engage in the chat when you're in a seminar. Send emojis for giving the speaker their kudos, or giving them some type of encouragement as they listen, as they present, or just connecting in the chat and saying, yes, I agree, or yes, our minds work off of memory recognition. So seeing someone's name pop up a few times throughout a session in the chat, it's very likely that someone could potentially remember your name and then connect with you on another point in the virtual event. And some of the platforms that you can connect with, you have LinkedIn, I think is the most beneficial platform for connecting when you're connecting professionally. And then Instagram and Facebook tend to be a little bit more social. When someone from work sends me a Facebook message or friend request, I'm a little weary because I'm saying, are we there yet? I don't know. Let's keep it professional until we get to sharing, an ice cream socials after work. And then, of course, Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter, is another aspect that you can, or another platform that you can use for professional and social. And so I wanted to talk about nurturing the relationships, because once you connect with someone for the first time, you have to understand, just like dating or getting married, you have to kind of keep the fire going. You have to keep the engagement going. And so definitely follow up with a message, a note, saying something that you enjoyed about meeting that person, a reason why you would like to stay connected. Or if you met someone and it wasn't at an event or it was at work and you're on the 7th floor for the first time and you saw someone and you all had a great conversation, look them up in the directory for the job and then go ahead and send them a note saying it was great catching up with you. Let's get lunch sometime, or will you be at the next meeting for X or project X or the next social event? And then recognize that relationships they're better when you're providing value and you're receiving value. Not only do you reach out maybe to someone when you're like, oh, your company has a job opening, I would like to, learn more about that position, but more so also remembering that what value can you provide? What article did you see that reminded you of that person and what their goals were? And that potentially could be some good information for them in their journey for professional development. And then give grace. I say this because sometimes I know I have been guilty that someone has followed up with me after an event and I completely missed the message. And here it is, a month or two later, I finally see the message in my inbox. Oh, Nadia, it was great to meet you at the event. I would love to schedule some time for us to catch up. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't see this message. And it's 3 months later. And so we just give grace and recognize that people have busy schedules. Some people may not be on social media as much. They could have missed your message. And so you want to just give them grace. And if someone doesn't respond to your message, feel free to respond back a little later, just to kind of see, were they busy? Did they miss the message? Or like me, they completely didn't see it. So definitely give grace and don't feel bad extending yourself to someone else a second or third time. And then be patient with relationships. It takes time. So you can't automatically expect that someone is going to want to introduce you to their hiring manager at their job quite yet. So just recognize that there is some time that goes into building genuine relationships, finding that common ground. It might be a couple events before you all go out to do a one-on-one or do an informational or start recommending potential jobs. And then I think the new word that is popping up now is be authentic. It's not a new word, but it's a key word, I think. Just be authentic. Authentic being yourself, not being afraid of sharing where your background is, what your job history has been, not being shy to show up as all of who you are, recognizing that you are who you are and you add value in whatever space that you go to by being you all. And I wanted to hear if anyone had anything else in the chat. If you want to drop in the chats any other tips that you might have for nurturing and maintaining any connections that you've had or would like to have. Any ideas, drop them in the chat. And I see Tara commented that she agrees, like send in an article that they would like to read and it shows that you have something in common. And Trisha said she concurred, LinkedIn is an excellent professional platform to connect. All right.
Introduce people to each other.
Did you say something, Emery?
So I see Tara put introduce people to each other.
Yes, that's a great one. So Anne Marie, I think originally introduced me to Gina, and so the full circle comes back. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
That's a great tip. All right. And then networking challenges. So we were talking, Anne-Marie, we could tag team on this one, but we were just talking about, okay, I go into a room and I love seeing people. Anne-Marie goes into a room and she finds a corner. So I go into a room and I find all the Anne-Maries and bring them to the front and say, hi, how are you? What do you do? And, we talk in different ways and engage, whatever, but approaching strangers could be some of the challenges that we had. The fear of rejection. You go up and someone says, oh, I don't like that person because I don't know. you're afraid of, you're making up in your head and in your mind what people might be saying. And the reality is you're probably not saying anything. They're just as either nervous as you or scared as you, or they're an extrovert and you're going to know they're an extrovert because they're going to come up and help you break the ice. Emery?
And we know feeling inadequate. Sometimes we worry that we don't know enough or we don't have enough to offer. And so that's one of the challenges that, can hinder us when we're networking. And then that imposter syndrome is like, are we fearing that we will be exposed to being a fraud? Like, as an introvert, I'm standing in the back and I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone because what if they know that, I'm just not a nice person or stuff. So we have that imposter syndrome that we feel that we will be exposed. And then there's that social awkwardness. How do I approach? How do I stand? Do I go over there and get some drinks before I talk to someone? So those are some of the challenges. And then one of the biggest thing that we do, and we probably play that story over and over in our head when we see someone, is to compare ourselves to others. And we see, for instance, I see Nadia standing over in the corner and she's talking to everyone. And I'm there and I'm like, I'm not like Nadia. I can't talk to anyone. I start comparing myself to her. And that prevents me from even moving and making a connection. So what do you think, Nadia?
Great. I think what resonates here with me is not having enough information, not having enough knowledge. And I'm learning as I explore entrepreneurship outside of work is that if you have a 10% knowledge more, if you had 10% more knowledge than any group of people, you're qualified to teach that group of people whatever it is that you know 10% more than them. So I just want to remind everybody, you have enough knowledge, whether it's composting, whether it's project management, whether it's administration, whether it's all these things in the workplace or not. Whenever you show up, never feel that you're not, you don't have enough information because there's always Google and now there's chat GPT. And so anything that you need to learn or know, you could always get your hands in when you're on. And obviously meeting people who have those expertise, then you can leverage them in your network. And then that ties into the fear of being vulnerable. So you may not want to show that you don't know what the latest news headlines were this morning because you don't like the news. It's just okay throwing that out there and letting people know that there's two sides to the coin. There's always two sides and two perspectives and different experiences in any one room. So never be afraid of being vulnerable and sharing your truth. And overcoming these networking challenges. I think someone said, having someone else introduce you. We have prepare and research. There are some events that you might be invited to or you might go to, and you might have an idea of who's going to attend. They may have even made the registration list public. And so therefore you can take a look and see who's going where, who might you strategically want to connect with so that you can ask a question. And then set realistic expectations. You don't have to get 12 business cards. You can just do well with one. And that one connection could lead to other connections and other connections. And you don't have to feel pressured that you need to walk away with a handful of cards. And then positive self-talk. I think Anne-Marie touched on this. Tell yourself that I'm confident, I am valuable in this space, and realizing that everyone has a different fingerprint. And so your fingerprint belongs in the room because every person's fingerprint is unique. So never feel like you're a duplicate or you're not adding value. Always tell yourself the positive things and focus on the positive things about your work experience and even your life and background experiences that can help someone else.
And you can embrace your vulnerability. Know that networking or being in a room is new to you. So be okay with it. You're still learning, so you can embrace that vulnerability. And then one of the other thing you hear folks talk about sometimes is use your power pose. So go in, stand with your shoulders straight instead of slumping and looking like you're defeated. Just stand confident and knowing that it's okay. And one of the other thing is to practice your elevator pitch. Practice what you're going to say it, how you're going to say it, and be confident in knowing that it's you. No one can talk about you but you. So be confident in that. And practice gratitude. Just be grateful to be there, reflect your strength, your experience. You're grateful for everything that you are. As Nadia said, having 10% of knowledge or whatever, know that you know what you know, and don't try to be someone else. Just be you. And with that said, we are gonna roll into an exercise. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna break you out into breakout rooms. And Tara, can you help us with moving individuals to different breakout rooms? What we would like for you to do is when you go into your breakout room, we would like for you to craft an elevator pitch. And an elevator pitch, you should be concise, engaging, and you're going to tailor it to the audience. And your audience today is us in business, in global business leaders. And for for that elevator pitch, we're giving you an example of how you can create that elevator pitch.
Whoops.
Yeah, the last slide.
Somehow it's skipped ahead.
And let me see if I can find it, and I'll paste it in the chat for your example. You can use this when you get into your room. And then you're going to have about 10 minutes in the room. And once you come out, we're going to ask you to share with us. You can choose a spokesperson for your group and to share with us how the experience was in crafting that elevator pitch.
And feel free to ask us questions before you go. I'm going to pull up the screen now that shows the prompt here. And Anne-Marie, did you say you could drop it in the chat as well?
I dropped a breakout of how they can craft their elevator pitch in the chat. Okay.
Just have it here on the screen.
I
So
don't see
before
it in
we-
the chat.
You don't see it?
I don't see it there.
It should just be a word that says hi, and then you have.
Oh, I see it on screen now. Okay.
Okay.
Or you could take a photo or a screenshot as well.
Let's give a minute for people to do that.
Yeah. I did post it to everyone. And then Tara, when you're ready, you can.
Yeah, so let me explain.
Breakout room.
Yeah, so we'll open up the breakout rooms. Initially, we'll ask you to just self-select 1, 2, 3, or 4. And if we have a room that looks out of balance, we're hoping for an even distribution. So I might move people around, but we'll see we'll see what your natural inclinations lead you to.
And in the room, as we mentioned, you're going to talk with each other and then just craft an introduction of yourself, as we call an elevator pitch, and then choose a spokesperson and someone once we get back in who would like to share theirs. How is that trying to craft your elevator pitch in a room full of strangers? Or what do you think? How was that exercise?
Very good.
Very good, good. So did each room choose a spokesperson? Who from each room is willing to share their elevator pitch with us? We can start with breakout room 1. Robin, were you from breakout room 1? Who was oh, I didn't write the names down of who was in whose breakout room, but you all know who you were. Breakout room 1, and then we'll go with breakout room 2, and then breakout room 3, and then 4.
I think Nadia was our spokesperson.
Yes, so I thought we did really great. I gave an introduction of my elevator speech, and Alan asked a follow-up question as to what happens after you give your elevator pitch, what happens and how do you navigate that? And I suggested that you find something to ask a question about, or you find something to add to that. And then we also had Ambar. He also introduced himself, and I think I demonstrated vulnerability because he talked about, I believe it was finance trade, and I wasn't quite aware of what that all entailed. So I said, as my follow-up question, would you share a little bit more about what that means? And then he was able to give me an understanding and help me learn about finance trade. So I was excited to learn something new, and then also show Alan how you can engage after someone gives their elevator pitch.
Great, great. That's true, because she said she shared her vulnerability. That means, she was open to put herself out there that she did not understand. In the conversation, by asking a question, it's not that you don't know, but you want more understanding. And even if you don't know, you want to understand it. And that will open more conversation with that individual. So that was great. Group 2.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Holman, and I'm your user experience professional and problem solver extraordinaire. I'm currently highly experienced in software and interaction design, but I also solve a multitude of business problems when I can, mostly focused in the human-computer interaction space. Over the years, I have designed a lot of software, and a lot of the problems I've solved have actually been with content, not with software, because it's really about connecting with people, and I'm making a point to connect with people. My personal philosophy is ABC, always be curious. So I'm always trying to express my curiosity about someone, what they're doing, where they've been, where they want to go, and how can I help them? And I'm excited to connect with others who are also curious and who like meeting international group of folks, because to me, that is just a joyful experience to meet people with different backgrounds who can share little bits of similarity and difference with me, so we can make that beautiful, beautiful network of color and pattern and fabric that is interrelated people. Thank you so much, everyone. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. And when Carrie shared her background and her pitch, we started talking about the different enhancement in Zoom. So that led to various conversation. And I told her I was taking credit for Zoom adding emojis to the chat. And she said, because I sent them a question, and she said, that may tip the scale. And now we talk about not being able to move or chat with us from room to room, which we usually could do when Zoom first started. So I said, I'm going to send a message to Zoom to see, if they're really listening to me. So that her pitch opened up the conversation about different ideas that we have for Zoom. So great job. Thank you. Room 3.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm Trisha Thomas. I'm an IT strategist in the federal intelligence community, and I was part of Group 3. I was joined by Carrie, Steve, and Tara, and we each gave our elevator pitches, and I actually crafted one earlier this morning because I have a meeting with my senior leadership next week, and they gave me the opportunity to present as well as give me feedback. And it was very eye-opening because without knowledge of my sector and the work I do, Tara and Carrie really helped me to improve the elevator pitch by having an opening statement so anyone outside of my community can understand what I do and the value I bring to the team. So it was a very insightful session, and I just really thank everyone for putting this together.
Thank you for that. And as you
Great.
see, just sharing your pitch may not be to tell individuals what you do, but it may also open up the door for them to give you feedback. And so with that, you may be able to enhance your elevator pitch to make it better the next time you have to share it with someone. So great job. And then group 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hazel Wilson,
Hi.
and I am a retired federal worker with the former Department of the Interior. I've been in Toastmasters since 2008. Our group shared information about their occupations, also their personal interests, and their membership and involvement in Toastmasters. So we found out that at least 2 of the members in our group are HR specialists. And so they made a connection there. And also we found that 2 members of our group belonged to sororities, opposite sororities, but there was also a connection there as well. And I think also we had a seasoned Toastmasters, and we had, as one person described herself, a baby Toastmaster. So we had a very diverse group. I also think that we found that we were in various locations, different states. Is that the red light? Different areas. So I think we found that we were a very diverse group, and I think there was interest there, and yes, there was some opportunities definitely for networking, based on interest, based on job specialties, and just based on just getting to know different Toastmasters. So thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you. And from this exercise, you can realize that you can get connection, you can get feedback. So it can go either way once you start opening up yourself. We talk about showing our vulnerability. We talk about, just being confident in being able to be open. And from there, we're building our support system. So Nadia and I, when we first met, we started talking, oh, I'm from Jamaica. And she's like, oh, and then we found out we're in the same sorority. And then we start doing that. Building a network system can also help you to get mentors, because there's someone that could be in the same industry as you, and you can ask that person to be a mentor to you, to build your support. So don't be afraid to be open to networking. Don't be like me, stand in the back of the room and observe. Be like Nadia, who is the extrovert who will go out there.
But don't compare yourself to anyone, because both are needed in a room.
There you go. Comparison, no, we're both needed in the room, because we need those who will bring the energy level down. But in a room where there's, too many introverts, we need those extroverts in there. So just remember, at the core of it, networking is creating a web of connection to contribute to your personal growth, your career development, and it also helps you to enhance your community. So be open, and we just thank you for coming with us through this session today. And we hope we were able to give you some knowledge and take away that fear of networking. Back to you, Gina.
Thank you both to Anne Marie and Nadia for that wonderful presentation. And the interactive portion was probably my favorite part of it all. And I love hearing the readouts. I know we are approaching our time, and I know that our president, Gina Joseph, does have some announcements for us. So I'm going to invite Gina to take the stage and give us our announcements before we end our session.
I think Gina might have lost volume again.
Carrie, you're on mute.
There you go.
Oh, I just introduced you to finish out the announcements before the end of our session today.
Okay, thank you so much. I just got booted out of Zoom and I came back in time. Thank you, everyone. First, thank you to our presenters, Anne Marie and Nadia. Let's give it in my hand. Thank you so much for this very insightful and informative presentation. I believe we are all equipped now to be master networkers. So let's be able to apply what we have learned today and take that out with us in our personal and professional journeys. Second, I would like to say thank you to you for showing up, because without you, we couldn't do this event. And third, I would like to say thank you to Team GBL. We have people who are working behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. Thank you for making this a memorable event. Next, we have our membership. And in the interest of time, we will encourage you, if you are interested in joining our club, please let us know. You can mention the word membership in the chat, and we will definitely reach out to you and tell you a lot more about how you can become a member with Global Business Leaders. Next week is our regular Toastmasters meeting. We meet every first and third Thursday of the month from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the 11th of September, we will be hosting an event called Speech Contest Training with Body Madec. So if you are a Toastmaster and you want to learn how to run a speech contest or understand how the contest rules are performed, join us for this event on the 11th, and we'll be sending out emails on that. And our club's fall speech contest takes place on September 21st, and we will be sharing that information as well. And with that, I would like to say again, thank you, everyone. Look out for emails from us. We will be sending you a little gift for participating in today's session and also the recording. Thank you, and back to you, Carrie.
Thank you, President Gina. It's really lovely to see all of my new friends and new faces here, as well as my existing friends from the Toastmasters. I too am a baby Toastmaster, so I'm enjoying the new experiences myself. And I just want to thank everyone for attending the workshop today. And I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully at Global Business Leaders. But also, I'm going to be dropping into other Toastmasters clubs too, now that I know it's something that can be done. So I hope everybody has a great time and enjoys the rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.